You know, I think about this story a lot. Not because it's some famous martial arts tale that gets passed around in dojos and YouTube comments, but because, at its heart, it's about a young man who thought he knew everything, walked into a room, and got quietly, completely humbled by someone who barely raised a finger. That young man was Bruce Lee, and the year was 1953. Hong Kong back then was nothing like what you'd picture today. Forget the glass towers and the neon skyline. This was a city still crawling out of the wreckage of World War II. Raw, crowded, a little desperate, and somehow alive in a way that cities aren't when everything's too clean and too comfortable. Kowloon especially. If you've ever been to a really old Asian neighborhood where every alley has its own smell and every doorway has someone sitting in it watching the world go by, that's what Kowloon felt like. Street food frying at 7 in the morning, incense drifting out of small temples, kids chasing each other between trishaw drivers who were yelling at everyone, old men playing mahjong like it was the most serious business on earth. That was the world Bruce Lee was growing up in, and Bruce was, to put it simply, a handful. He was 19 years old, all sharp edges and restless energy. Wire thin, yeah, but don't let that fool you. He'd been in enough street fights by that point to walk with the kind of confidence that makes other people nervous. He wasn't a bully, nothing like that. But he believed in himself, the way only young men who've won a few fights believe in themselves completely, without any space left for doubt. He had started learning Wing Chun from Ip Man not long before this particular morning. And here's the thing about Bruce Lee in those early days. He was genuinely gifted. His hands were fast. His footwork was something else. He absorbed techniques the way some people absorb languages, naturally, quickly, like his body already knew the vocabulary and was just being reminded. His eyes missed nothing. But there's a gap between seeing something and truly understanding it. A big one. And Bruce hadn't crossed it yet. Ip Man was 60 years old. I want you to really sit with that for a second, because people hear 60-year-old martial arts master, and they picture someone slow and ceremonial, going through movements like a living museum exhibit. Ip Man was not that. He was something harder to describe. When he walked into a room, nothing about him screamed danger, no posturing, no intensity, no performance. He moved quietly. He spoke quietly. He drank his tea and sat with his eyes half closed and looked, to anyone who didn't know better, like a pleasant old man with good posture. But his students, the ones who had been with him long enough, they knew. There was something underneath all that stillness, like the difference between a calm ocean and a deep one. On this particular morning, Ip Man was already there when Bruce arrived. Of course he was. He was always there first. Bruce came in carrying that electric energy of his, bowed to his teacher, and almost immediately started in on what he really wanted to say. Sifu, I'm ready for the advanced forms. I've been doing chain punches 4 hours a day. Now look, that is not a lie. Bruce had been working hard, maybe harder than anyone else there. But listen to the way he said it. I'm ready. I've been working. I deserve to move forward. There was something in it that was less about learning and more about being recognized for learning. That's a small difference that turns out to be a very large one. Ip Man just looked at him. Not stern, not warm. Just that calm, measuring look. Show me, he said. So Bruce showed him, and honestly, it was impressive. The chain punches came out in this clean blur, each one crisp, each one landing in exactly the right rhythm. His hips were rotating correctly, his stance was solid, and he finished without even being out of breath. He stepped back and waited, and you could feel, even without being in the room, that he was waiting for something specific, not just feedback, praise. Ip Man put down his tea. Again, he said. So Bruce went again. This time even sharper, even faster, throwing in some footwork and transitions he'd been privately working on. Little inventions of his own. And when he stopped, there was this tiny smile on his face. He couldn't quite keep it off. Ip Man got up slowly, walked toward Bruce with his hands behind his back, stopped just a little outside arm's reach, and looked at him for a long moment. Really looked. You move well, he said. Bruce's chest lifted. He genuinely couldn't help it. "But you're fighting yourself," Ip Man said, his voice not changing at all. "Everything you just did, you did it for me. You were watching yourself through my eyes the whole time. You wanted me to see the speed. You wanted me to count the hits. That's a performance, not a fight." The smile went away. "I was giving full effort," Bruce said carefully. "Yes," said Ip Man. "That's the problem." Bruce went quiet. And I think that silence was one of the more uncomfortable moments of his young life, because he genuinely didn't understand. And not understanding something, for Bruce Lee, was almost physically painful. He'd been praised his whole life for trying hard. Now someone was telling him that trying hard was the wrong answer. What does that even mean? Ip Man walked to the middle of the floor and just stood there, feet apart, hands at his sides, perfectly relaxed. He didn't look threatening, he just looked ready in some way that had nothing to do with tension. "Come," he said. Bruce attacked. Of course he did. He threw those same chain punches, fast and clean and powerful. They hit nothing. Ip Man wasn't dramatically dodging, wasn't doing anything showy. He was just somewhere else each time, like trying to punch smoke. Bruce shifted angles, pushed forward, used his footwork. He was doing everything right. And then something happened that Bruce couldn't explain afterward. He didn't fall, not exactly, but his balance broke. Ip Man had redirected him with something so small and so quick that Bruce missed it entirely. 1 second he was attacking, the next he was facing the wrong direction with his arm out uselessly, and Ip Man's hand was resting lightly on the side of his neck. The whole room went very quiet. Bruce stepped back. His hands, those fast, reliable hands, felt strange. Something in his chest was doing something uncomfortable, like a crack running through a wall you assumed was solid. "How?" he said. His voice was different now. "You knew where you were going," Ip Man said. "Every combination, every step, you'd already decided. Your body was running a plan. My body had no plan. It just responded to what was actually there. You fought the version of me in your head. I fought only you." I don't think Bruce had ever heard anything that hit him that hard without physical contact. He'd been in real fights, ugly ones, where people genuinely wanted to hurt him. He'd come out of those on top through sheer speed and refusal to quit. He'd built his whole sense of self around being faster, sharper, more committed than anyone around him. And in less than a minute, a quiet old man had pulled up every foundation of that identity by the roots. "Do it again," Bruce said. "Now?" Ip Man asked. "Now." Second exchange. 4 seconds. Same ending. Bruce against the wall, Ip Man's forearm across his collarbone, calm as anything. "You attacked harder." "Yes," Bruce said. "Harder isn't the answer. You keep asking how to hit me. You should be asking how to stop needing to." Bruce's hands were shaking. Not from tiredness, from something that didn't have a name yet in his vocabulary. He'd come into that school wanting to be promoted, wanting recognition, wanting to be seen as ready. And the entire morning had been Ip Man watching to see one specific thing, whether Bruce was training to actually fight or training to be seen as someone who could fight, an invisible line. But everything... "Again?" Ip Man asked. Bruce looked at his teacher. Really this time, not measuring, not planning, not calculating, just looking at a 60-year-old man who'd just broken something open in him that, honestly, needed breaking. "Again," Bruce said. He moved differently, not harder, not faster, no planned sequence, no imaginary audience watching him look good, just honest movement, responding to what was real. He still didn't land anything clean. Ip Man was still Ip Man, but something in that last exchange felt different, true somehow, and when Ip Man finally stopped and looked at him, something had shifted in those quiet eyes. Not quite approval, something older than that, something that said, "Okay, now I see you. The real one." Bruce bowed. This time it meant what it was supposed to mean. When he straightened, Ip Man had already turned away and was walking back toward his tea. Morning light was coming through the windows in long gold stripes across the floor. Nobody said anything. There wasn't anything left to say. The lesson had ended. The real one, the one Bruce Lee would spend the rest of his life learning, had just begun.